In the world of sports, it's a known saying that the best offense is a great defense. From a frog that snaps its own toe bones into claws, to an ant that detonates its entire body to take an enemy down with it. Here is every animal with the weirdest survival skills. The opossum. The opossum's best survival skill is being a convincing corpse. That's it. That's the whole strategy. The Virginia opossum is North America's only marsupial, and when a predator corners it, it does not run, bite, or fight. It falls over and becomes garbage. Playing possum undersells it. The opossum isn't acting. When the threat gets bad enough, it involuntarily collapses into a near comatose state. Lips pulled back, drool, body limp, and glands near its rear leak a smell of rotting death. It is chemically a corpse. Most predators want to kill the prey themselves. A thing that's already dead and stinking of decay is a meal they instinctively reject. The opossum can't choose to do this. It's not a decision, it's closer to fainting. The animal is so committed to looking dead that it'll lie there while you nudge it, and only reboot minutes to hours later once the coast is clear. It works almost every time. But the cost is real. For those minutes, the opossum is genuinely defenseless, betting everything on the act. The sea cucumber. When a sea cucumber is attacked, it fires its own internal organs out of its butt at the predator, and then it's fine. Sea cucumbers are soft, slow tubes living on the ocean floor. No shell, no teeth, no speed. On paper, it should be an easy lunch. In practice, one of the strangest defenses in the sea. It's called evisceration. Many sea cucumber species can violently expel part of their gut and respiratory organs through the anus when threatened. Some go further and eject sticky white threads called Cuvierian tubules, which swell into a tangle of glue-like strands that can trap and immobilize a crab or small fish. The predator gets a face full of sticky guts. The meal turns into a wrestling match with a net, and the cucumber slips away gutless. Amazingly, it regenerates the lost organs over the following weeks. The Iberian ribbed newt. This newt defends itself by pushing its own ribs out through its skin and stabbing you with them. The Iberian ribbed newt lives in ponds and streams across Spain, Portugal, and Morocco, and it looks completely boring until you grab it. When attacked, it swings its ribs forward and up to a sharper angle, then pushes them through special warty pores along its sides. The ribs pierce its own skin and stick out as a row of spikes. At the same time, those same pores secrete a toxin. The ribs aren't just spears, they're poisoned spears. The newt turns its rib cage into a venom delivery system. It's a switchblade that lives inside the body and only comes out when someone squeezes the handle. Remarkably, this doesn't seem to do the newt lasting harm. The skin reportedly heals and the ribs retract with no sign of infection, which is part of what fascinates researchers. The hairy frog. When this frog gets cornered, it breaks its own toe bones and the jagged ends rip out through its feet to become claws. Nicknamed the horror frog or Wolverine frog, for reasons you've probably already guessed, the hairy frog is native to Central and West Africa, such as Cameroon, Gabon, and Nigeria. Inside each hindfoot, a claw made of pure bone sits nestled in tissue, anchored to a muscle. When the frog is attacked, it contracts that muscle. The sharp bone tip snaps free of its anchor, and it punches down through the toe pad and out the bottom of the foot. No sheath, no keratin like a cat's claw, just raw bone tearing through its own flesh to make a weapon. People assume the claws come out like a cat's and slide back in neatly. Here, there's no clean mechanism on display. Scientists still aren't certain exactly how the claws retract or how the wound heals, only that the frog can apparently do it. Cameroonian hunters know to kill these frogs with long spears, specifically so they never have to hold one. The pangolin. A pangolin's survival plan is to roll into a ball, and it's so effective that even lions routinely give up and just walk away. The pangolin, found across Africa and Asia, is the only mammal on Earth fully covered in scales. Those scales are made of keratin, the same material as your fingernails, layered like overlapping roof tiles. When threatened, the pangolin tucks its head, wraps its armored body into a tight ball, and tucks its soft belly completely out of reach. The scale edges are sharp, and the muscle holding the ball shut is so strong that a human can't pry it open by hand. Predators bite down, claw at it, and roll it around, and the pangolin just stays a ball. No soft spot to bite, no opening to force, no patience test the predator can win. The pangolin's armor is perfect against claws and teeth, yet useless against a hand. That same roll into a ball reflex makes them easy for poachers to pick up, which is a major reason pangolins are among the most trafficked mammals in the world. The Texas horned lizard. When a potential predator stalks and closes in, this lizard squirts a jet of its own blood out of its eyes, up to several feet, straight into that same predator's mouth. The Texas horned lizard is a spiky, flat little reptile of the American Southwest that looks like a crawling brown cactus. Its first line of defense is just being a cactus, crown of horns and a spiked body that's genuinely hard to swallow. But when that fails against canine predators, it pulls a gory trick. It restricts blood flow out of its head until the pressure ruptures tiny vessels around its eyes and fires a stream of blood at the attacker. The blood carries a chemical that tastes foul to coyotes, foxes, and dogs. Imagine popping a ketchup packet by squeezing it until the seams blow, except the lizard is the packet and it's aiming directly at your face. The blood can travel a surprising distance, and a face full of bad-tasting blood is usually enough to make an attacker rethink its next meal. The Bombardier beetle. This beetle sprays a boiling toxic chemical out of its rear at almost exactly the temperature of boiling water, and it aims with precision. The Bombardier beetle, under an inch long, found on nearly every continent in the world, is carrying what is fairly described as a chemical weapon. It stores two chemicals separately, hydrogen peroxide and hydroquinone, which are stable apart. When threatened, it pumps them into a reinforced reaction chamber lined with enzymes. The reaction is violently exothermic. It heats the mix to near 100 degrees Celsius, boiling, and fires it out a swiveling nozzle. The spray is mostly benzoquinone, a serious irritant. The beetle doesn't fire a steady stream, it pulses up to roughly 500 pulses per second, which is what makes the audible popping sound and keeps the beetle itself from cooking. And it can aim that nozzle in almost any direction. Each beetle carries enough fuel for around 20 blasts. The boxer crab. This crustacean defends itself by holding a live, stinging sea anemone in each claw and waving them at threats like venomous pom-poms or boxing gloves. I'll let you decide which one sounds cooler. The boxer crab or pom-pom crab is a thumbnail-sized crab of tropical reefs, too small to win any fight on its own. So it doesn't fight on its own. It carries a small, stinging sea anemone in each claw and brandishes them at predators. The anemone's stinging cells do the damage the crab can't. In return, the crab carries the anemones to new food and scraps. It's a partnership where one partner is being used as boxing gloves, and the other is a free DoorDash. Marine biologists have observed that if a boxer crab loses one anemone, it can make the remaining one split into two, basically cloning its weapon. Boxer crabs have even been seen stealing an anemone from another crab to start the process. The reliability of the force splitting is still being studied, so treat that as an observation, not factual law, but still fascinating to think about. The hagfish. Bite a hagfish, and within a fraction of a second its body floods the water with so much slime that it can choke a shark's gills shut. The hagfish is an eel-shaped jawless fish older than the dinosaurs and older than trees that scavenge the deep ocean floor. It has no jaw, no real bones, and almost no defenses, except one. Along its body are pores that, the instant the hagfish is attacked, release tiny threads coiled with protein. On contact with seawater, those threads unspool and expand explosively, turning a small amount of secretion into a huge volume of fibrous slime in well under a second. A predator that bites down gets its mouth and gills instantly clogged with gel. The shark bites, the shark's gills flood with slime, the shark backs off gagging, and the hagfish, unbitten, ties itself into a literal knot and slides through the knot to wipe the slime off its own body. Another reason the hagfish is able to survive the bite, because with no rigid skeleton and loose skin, it simply absorbs the strikes. The Malaysian exploding ant. When this ant can't win a fight, It clamps onto the enemy, flexes until its own body bursts open, and covers them both in toxic glue. It does not survive. It was never going to. The exploding ant of Southeast Asia was described as a brand new species recently in 2018, after going by the nickname yellow goo for years. Only the minor workers can do it. When an enemy proves too strong, the little worker grabs hold, contracts its abdominal muscles so hard that its body wall ruptures and bursts, releasing a bright yellow, sticky, toxic secretion that gums up and can kill the attacker. The scent has been described as oddly curry-like. The ant dies. The colony lives. It's called autothysis, a Greek word for self-sacrifice. The colony runs a two-tier security system. The front door is guarded by doorkeeper ants, major workers with enormous plug-shaped heads that physically block the nest entrance. If something gets past the bouncer at the door, then the minor workers swarm out and start detonating. Suicide bombers in reserve. If we missed any other weirdest survival animals that deserve to be mentioned, let me know in the comments and we'll cover them in an upcoming video. But if exploding ants didn't move the needle, you should watch every animal that enforces brutal punishments. These animals actually exile their own family members. Thanks for watching.